Good evening, everyone.
Hey, fellow Muckians.
What's
I'm
up? What's
Mucking.
happening?
We are totally gone muckable tonight. Yep, everything's a muck.
Amokable.
Amokable?
I don't know. I've been coming up with new words.
Wow.
It's kind of getting old, you know.
Wow,
Wow.
amokable. That could be really pervy. Amokable. This is not a
Oh,
pervy
no.
show. This is not a pervy show. But I'm 12.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Has the 2 billion number come up yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome all 2 billion fans out there. We love you. We miss you. We'd love to see you, but the boxes would be really tiny. So
That would be pretty awesome, huh? It's like,
it would be pretty neat, wouldn't it?
yeah,
I would see little pixels.
pixels.
Oh, geez. That'd be too many.
Oh my gosh. This is our normal. At least we're all working. We're all on the screen tonight. And welcome. This is Missouri
I did the
night.
countdown right.
Yay.
And we almost started.
And you didn't even notice.
On Hold on.
You did a fabulous job, Shaw.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Well, tonight we're talking about Missouri, different things. I've invited two of my friends, Heather and Martha. They are joining us from Apex, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So welcome.
Thanks.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, that's it. Show's over. No.
Yay.
All right, goodbye.
Now, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll start off and we'll just ask just a couple of basic questions like tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into we'll just ask the paranormal field.
Wow, no pressure.
No.
Right.
Well then just say, Martha,
Under
take it
pressure.
away. Take it away.
There. Go ahead, babe.
It started I don't even know what year. I think maybe 2010. Me and my friend, she had a friend, obviously, and Jim, and he had come up and we had kind of talked about it, and it's something he has always wanted to do on his own. He's worked with the guys from TAPS, and he's done some things with other groups, and he just wanted to do his own. And so me and Shannon jumped on board with him, and then we formed the group, and it originally had like 20 people. And, you know, I got really weird about, if you're not going to participate, you can't be part of it.
Yeah.
Because you've got your core people that are going and doing 3 and 4 trips a year, and you want to jump in on it and ride the coattails. And I was just like, no, if you're not going to go, you're not part of this. So it dropped it down to, I think, like 6 or 8. So, but he
understand that.
Yeah.
Been
Okay,
there.
So he just it was his idea and you're like, this is great, and you just joined him.
Well, I had never actually thought about ghost hunting, you know.
Okay.
So when he started talking about it, but I loved, like, I watched Ghost Hunters and I watched all that stuff. And then he came to Missouri from Atlanta and we started talking about everything, and I was like, I'll try it. I don't know if I'll like it, but I'll try it. And I just fell in love with it. So, and we were really doing a lot. And then, you know, life happened. And now we just kind of settled. Don't do so much.
Okay. All right. Martha, what about you?
Well, mine's a little bit easier. I grew up across the street from a graveyard. And my family has a long sordid history with paranormal activity and different things. So I've always just been one, like, I know it exists and I'm over there and it's okay. And then I fell in love with a beautiful woman who finds it really fun to do these things. And I don't ever want to be anywhere she's not. So I made my way to Missouri, and then we when she goes on these trips, I go along too and
Tag along.
try not to run screaming when I see or feel anything weird happening. So
Okay.
that's how I got into it. It's all Heather's fault.
Okay. It's a good thing to be blamed for, right?
I think
sure,
so.
Sure.
Excellent. So so you've been into it then for what, 5-6 years,
Yep.
maybe something like that? Okay.
Still a newbie.
We're all still newbies, but so when you guys go into an investigation, well, let me ask you this: is it more public stuff that you go to, private stuff, or just sites, various sites?
It's kind of a little bit of both. We've done
Okay.
private. We've done a lot of like the things you hear about, right? Limp Mansion, McPike Mansion, Mo State Pen. So it's a lot of those ghost hunting hotspots, I guess.
Okay.
But they're fun. But yeah, a little bit of all of it.
Okay. So when you used to do the private ones, it's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yes, it is, unless you have somebody who makes it easy.
Okay, like teammates who actually help.
Well, that's always a plus, but we have very special people. So we have a couple very special people that are very gifted, I guess.
Gifted.
So it gifted.
Okay.
But it makes it a little bit easier to do those private things because it's not as much legwork, I think, because you've got somebody who can communicate with that side of it, and it just makes everything go a lot smoother. It's not as hard.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you did those, I guess the clients, they kind of expected some kind of evidence. Were you able to collect evidence for them?
Oh, always.
Okay.
There's only been a couple places where we actually have not gotten anything.
Okay.
So, but for the most part, we always have EVPs, always.
Okay. I wonder if a couple of those, since we're in the same area, St. Louis area, that if we went to the same place, they called us and I went and like, this place is not haunted. You guys are just sick.
Yeah. No, it's not
Really?
anybody who's like called. It's like friends,
Okay.
family. They're like, oh, can you come and do this? And we're like, sure, why not?
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's times like that when you really find out how freaked out some people can get
yeah,
over nothing.
right.
So you have to go in there with your blinders on and your debunking hat on first. And then when you don't find anything, well, you got to give them the bad news or the good news, however
Yeah.
they take it. If you do find something, then it's like, okay, now what are we going to do? Correct?
Right. I always go in skeptical. Always.
It's good.
I
And
don't necessarily.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Martha, what about you?
No, I don't always go in skeptical. I've seen too much and been around too much in my life growing up. When you think it's fun to go play in a graveyard at 2:00 in the morning on a non-school night in the middle of summer, and you're running around with your friends and you have nothing better to do, and then shit gets real, right? Oh,
Yeah,
can we
no,
say
I
shit?
get that. No,
Oh, yeah.
no,
Okay.
no, you cannot. No,
I don't.
no.
What
No,
is the boundary line for
I-
curse words?
Well,
Don't.
we
They are
try
always-
to curb it because I want to make it kind of family friendly for the younger generation to be able to watch the show and stuff like that. I hate putting on the over routine kind of warning, although I
Yeah.
know nobody pays any attention to that stuff. But I'm not going to limit you because I believe in liberty, right? So
Woo.
you say
Well, I'll
you-
try to
you-
behave because
you say what you need to say to make the point that needs to be made. But
My boss is on.
I kind of disagree on a point because I've seen so much, right? And I've witnessed and encountered so much. So I know it's real. But when people tell me a story, I don't necessarily believe them. I go in, I always
Well,
go
you're
in there
not woo woo
skeptical.
either, Adrian. Are you woo woo?
I'm
Martha?
not.
What do you mean woo woo?
You feel
Are you
things, you
sensitive
see
in any
things,
way?
are you a gifted individual?
So yes. It's something I have always tried to control and keep shut down.
Yeah.
And it's a long and that's part of the long sordid history. It goes back in my family a long way. So we range from empaths to clairvoyants in our family to like full on people that can see and talk. Thankfully, I am not a one that can hear them talk. I'd feel like I was going crazy personally. But I have had some experiences, even with Heather there, that have no explanation, and then we call
My friend.
her friend and former Apex person, and she validates everything that I have just laid out, and it's a little bit creepy. The older I'm getting, the less easier it is to control. So
That's
I can sense the hesitancy there, and that you're really trying to stay in control. So I appreciate that. I really do. And you're doing well.
it just weirds me out, man. Like, and that's what my dad was like. My dad was telling my dad, since I'm down here, I was telling my dad that I was doing this podcast, and he goes, well, you don't believe in that stuff. I was like, I've never said I didn't believe in it, Dad. And he's like, well, you never said you did believe it. And I was like, you of all people, sir, know exactly what happens in this family. I was like, I can't. There's just some stuff you cannot deny. And whether you want to admit what it is or not, which is where my struggle is, you just can't deny what's happening.
Is it more of an overwhelming feeling, or is it actually downright fear?
And
again, if I'm asking too close question, just say
no.
comment.
At some points, depending on the situation, it can be downright fear. There was a situation where we were in Mo State Pen with you guys. You were, I think, in one of the other buildings, and Jim and I were up in, I think it was D Ward, on the top floor, on the second floor. And we were in one of the cells, and I looked over in the corner, and everything just went icy. And I was like, there is something there, and it's not something nice, and it's something gnarly. And Jim was like, I believe you're right. There's something there, and we need to back out of this room as quickly as possible. And so sometimes it's downright fear. Sometimes it's very calming. There was another situation more recently. I was going through a little bit of stress and had a nice visitor sitting on the foot of my bed, just kind of stroking my leg, telling me everything's okay in a way. So it can be both. So it just depends on what's presenting itself at the time, really.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. About you, Heather? Situations like that, you embrace it. You
not very well.
Oh, it's like,
She
hell
freaks.
no type of thing.
She freaks out.
I don't like it. I don't freak out about it, but I don't encourage it. I don't like it. We were speaking of the bed. She was home one night, and we have a blanket folded like accordion style at the end of our bed. So if in the middle of the night, we can just pull it up. And so we always put our second pillow at the foot of the bed, like over our feet. And we woke up in the morning, the blanket was pulled up, but the pillow was still on my feet. Well, if I'd have pulled that up, the pillow would have fallen off, right? I mean, that's just a no-brainer. So there was that incident. I didn't really care for it. I'm like, that's weird. Thank you for covering me up, but no, don't do it. And then she had gone out of town and her pajamas were folded at the end of the bed on her side. So like way down, I would have really had to stretch. And so I had woke up the next morning with the covers pulled up and her pajamas still folded as they were at the bottom of the corner of the bed where they were. Like something had picked it up, pulled the covers, and sat it back down. So I go in, ghost hunting.
She texted me freaking out first.
I did. I was like, what the hell is happening? So yeah, so what I did, I thought about it all day because I'm like, there's no way I could have done this. There's just no way. So I'm in this mode of trying to figure it out. And so I got home and I put everything back the way it was, trying to debunk it as we do, right? And so I pulled the covers up, they fell off the bed. And then I tried to do it faster and they ended up with me, up next to my head. So I'm like, okay.
She sent me pictures of all of this too.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to send pictures. So then for the rest of the time she was out of town, I had a pile of stuff there. Just in my head, I'm thinking, let me make it harder for you to move this stuff. Let me make it more of a nuisance. And I will just say out loud, that's not necessary. I appreciate it, but it's not necessary. Like, you don't have to do that if I'm cold, I'll do it myself. Like,
I don't. You'll wake up and pull it up.
Thank you, but I'll cover my own self.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't necessarily like it.
They just try and take care of you.
I appreciate that. I do. I love the fact that we have friendly people ghost in our house. Like, I love it, but I'm good. I don't like it.
Do you think they could be ancestors?
I mean, maybe. I mean,
it's potential. For me, I have had instances where my grandparents have come to visit. Spanish was my primary language growing up because my family is from Puerto Rico. And so I didn't learn English until I was about 5 years old. And there have been lots of reports. My grandmother passed away in 1991, and there have been lots of reports of me sleeping and carrying on full conversations with her in Spanish. So I know that there are times where she will come visit. And she goes to visit other family members have come to visit. She's gone to visit other family members as well. So I mean, that's what I mean. Like, my family has a very long sordid history, based off of religious practices and based off of, we are part Taino Indian, which is the native culture in Puerto Rico, which has a strong historic belief in ancestral privileges and things like that. So very, very weird side of the family.
I think that's a very gifted side of the family.
But it's
the interesting side of the family.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a great parlor trick when I take people to meet my brother and my sister-in-law, and they freak them out. So
I can only imagine. So are you freaked out by them too, Heather? Or
I mean, no.
More
I'm
so
not.
Interesting. Okay.
No, I'm not, because I have a friend who, like I said, is very gifted. She's very clairvoyant, medium-esque, I guess. So the fact that her sister-in-law can do those things doesn't freak me out. My concern when we took Buffy and Damon was that she was just throwing things out that Buffy had not spoken publicly about. Like, I knew these things, but I was the only one who knew. And she's throwing all this stuff out. And I just keep looking at Buffy like, are you okay? Because it's all very private. I'm like, so I think in one aspect, maybe pull her to the side. Don't do it in front of a group of people. Gotcha. I'm not freaked out by it. It don't bother me.
Okay. So you've had a lot, both of you guys have had in your group, and one or just individually. I mean, you've had a lot of paranormal experiences, paranormal on the spirit side, I'll say. What about other paranormal aspects? You know, maybe cryptids or aliens or UFOs or fairies or things like that. Have you experienced anything like that in your travels? Because I know you've been a lot of places. And
No.
big list you gave me, I'm like, I haven't been to some of those. I've seen them, but not been there.
No, no on all of that. No.
Not
Okay.
seen anything of the cryptid type, but I am one to like, oh, there's a fairy ring where, you know, there's no rain for days and just a ring of mushrooms pop up for no reason.
Mhm.
Like, so like I do kind of go down that route, but you know, Heather's more down, she's gonna deny it right now, but she's more down the alien route.
I hope there are aliens. 100%.
Oh, there is. We would be too egotistical to think that we're the only ones here. Yeah.
Right. And
think-
that's what I say.
I think
How
we're the only
arrogant
ones here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would love to see something alien-esque.
Oh,
It
I've
would-
seen things I couldn't
You know, go down to
explain.
go to LA, you'll see a lot of things that are alien-esque.
I have to go to LA a lot for work. You're right. There's a lot of alien-esque stuff in LA.
And Shaw always said that she's from LA, but that's
Lower Alabama.
Yeah.
there you go.
Hey, I'm from Tennessee, so
Ooh,
I'm right there with
you.
southern, good old southern folks.
Oh gosh, I miss the southern food. Oh, so much sometimes. But I've been in Oklahoma for 15 years almost, so I have to cook the southern food.
Yeah, well, next time you come to Missouri, just tell Ken to bring you over, and we'll cook you up some
I'm there.
country fried steak in
Oh,
a
I'm
cast
there.
iron skillet.
Wait a
I'm
minute,
Because
wait a
that's
there.
how
minute.
we roll.
If
Get
there's
some
food
cornbread and
involved, I
gravy,
need to be
too.
part of this.
Yep,
Sweet, yes.
and cornbread.
Woohoo! I'm there. I'm there. Ken, why
Yeah.
haven't you introduced us sooner?
Took me a while
If
to
it
wake
can
up.
be deep fried, if it can be, cooked in lard, then I'm gonna be a fan of it.
Definitely. Oh man. I'm sorry.
Been over
Ken.
there.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I've been over there for their Halloween chili fests too. So I'm not
Halloween
even
is like Christmas for us.
Oh, I love Halloween.
Same.
I
And I
told
don't
my
know
husband
when-
I need to get some skeletons to put out front and a bench, and I'm gonna decorate them for every holiday.
There you go. That'd be
We
cool.
do a whole mini graveyard scene out front with animatronics and zombies.
Nice.
And then like we lay low for Christmas because our neighbors are Christmas people, and so we do Halloween for the neighborhood. They do Christmas for the neighborhood.
They can have it.
Didn't one of your skeletons have a stocking cap on though?
Yeah, our
a Santa
neighbor
Claus hat?
Ted went by. We had some of that plastic fencing where it was the skulls on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And we had that set up. He went to the Dollar Tree and bought a bunch of
Sweet.
Santa Claus hats because we'd left it up past Christmas. We were just lazy and we'd left it up past Halloween and into Christmas. And
Mhm.
he got Santa hats and they lit up and he put them on the little skeleton
Yeah.
heads.
That
Yeah.
was
That's
pretty. That was
awesome.
pretty hilarious. I did see that. That was great.
Our neighbors are full of antics and jokes. We love them.
Yep. I think I've talked to quite a few of them sitting around the campfire back there.
Yep.
Yep. But so tell us about some of the fun things that you've done, places you've been. I know you gave me a list of them, and I do know because I was at the McPike Mansion with you.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
this
at
was a separate, but yeah, we did McPike Mansion, which was really fun.
Pike was weird.
The what?
McPike was weird.
It was weird. It's a strange place because although I don't know if you've been paying attention, but it looks like the inside is now partially open. So
Yeah.
I'm wanting to get back up there and take a look at it. But what they had, the McPike Mansion, what it was, they had a big, I'm going to call it a cellar, that is a walk-in cellar that would hold what, about 80 people, maybe?
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe even more. I don't know, but
it was a good sized group in there.
Yeah, and what they do is there's a resident psychic, and the McPike family still comes in.
Loosely.
What's that?
I said I would use that loosely. Resident psychic.
Little lizard, is that?
I can't remember
anyway,
the person's
sorry,
name.
go ahead.
I know what you're talking about, but she is there to introduce the spirits to the people, and it's basically a blackout session. They turn off all the lights, and there's only like one or two little control lights back in the back, like recorders or
cameras,
whatever. Cameras, right. But what was it the time we went? It was so weird because I'm sitting by the door. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
A spirit actually stood in front of me, and it turned out to be, I'm describing this, and the the official psychic was saying, that doesn't sound like any of the McPikes. And I'm like, I have no idea who this is. And the woman turns around, I describe her, and all of a sudden the woman sitting next to me in the, like 3 feet away in a chair, gasps and starts crying. She goes, that's my mom. And I watched this figure move over to her, put her hands on the woman's shoulders that was sitting there, and I could see her put her forehead up to hers. And that lady, she just started crying, just really crying and talking to her mom. She hadn't seen her for a long time. And then I see the whole room is lit up for me, so I can see silhouettes of everybody in the room, which is really even more weird. But then all of a sudden I see this shadow, it looked like a guy, come from my left and darts in front of me towards the door, which was like right next to me. And as he goes by, he kicks the chair of the guy sitting next to me. The guy goes flying, and of course everybody's it's just chaotic at that point. They turn the lights on. Did you guys know that right after that, the lady came up to me and said, that was so cool that my mom came to see you. But did you know that the guy that fell over, that was my dad? That was her stepdad.
So her mom shoved her stepdad over.
Her real dad went by and kicked the chair of the stepdad. And she goes, that was so damn funny. So, but
we were having our own fun that night, because we were back in the back corner. And of course, we had Buffy and Damon with us, and something was yanking on one of the chairs back there. Buffy's chair. And Buffy is like Heather. She's gonna freak out at anything. So Damon kept trying to keep Buffy from like jumping up and running out because this thing kept yanking on her chair. And then the whole back there, when you're a kid and you back there in that corner, when you're a kid and you like scribble on paper with an ink pen and you just scribble to make it as black as you can, and then you can start to smell the ink on the page. That's what it smelled like in that corner.
Yeah. Did you smell anything that night? Like there was like an antiseptic smell about it. No,
I don't remember because we were down there for what, hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
Almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
And no, this woman, like I said, came up. So I was more focused on her.
Right.
Because it was totally out of the ordinary that the spirit just lit up the entire room standing in front of me. And it turns out that it's the lady across from me. It's her mom. So, but I don't remember smelling anything though.
Okay. It was weird.
It was very weird that night.
He just talks to him.
Somebody probably just farted back in that corner. That's all it was.
And then they were over there laughing because everybody's like, do you smell something weird over here? I don't know, do you?
Too much grape juice. There you go.
And Chan's over there going, yes, they think it's the ghosts.
Well, they are blamed for a lot of things. So the ghosts are. Oh, but I mean, even outside that, supposedly that tomb, which I don't think it really was, that broken
Yeah,
tomb. But
the
that's
sarcophagus looking thing.
exactly. But that's kind of a cool place. But again, other places that that we've all gone to, Missouri State Penn, we talked about that. Lemp Mansion, I know you guys have been there.
Yeah,
I've been there
we rented
numerous
it
times.
out. Yeah, we rented it out with Apex. That was when we were a bigger group.
Mhm.
And we just didn't get anything. Nothing on our recorders. I mean, just nothing. Just silence. But it was a fun experience.
Yeah, we went for work. We took my work group there. And it's amazing how much groupthink happens when people are just excited about something. They were all like, "Oh, it's a haunted place. And we went and we had dinner at the mansion and everything, and they gave us the tour, and we had run of the mill to walk around and look at everything. And they were bringing all of this stuff up and like showing me, and I'm just like, yeah, that's a reflection. That's this. And like, just like finally, I was just like, I'm just gonna sit here, let them think what they want to think. Like I have to work with these people every day. I'm like, let me not hate them for making. You're just such a downer. Like, that's kind of where I was with it. But it's really, nothing of significance was in there for me. Let's put it that way when I was there.
Well, there's a rather active location here close to me. We've gone many times. There have been times that it just absolutely blew me away with the stuff we've seen. And then there are times that it's just been an empty building. Now, I know the place is haunted, but like my house here is haunted. But we'll go for a long time where there'll be nothing.
Right.
Then just a bunch of stuff will happen, and then it'll go back.
They went on vacation, Adrian.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I know, if I was a spirit, I'd go on vacation.
The ghosts are all like, let's go to Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, let's go overseas. Let's see what they're doing over there.
Let's go to London. London, and if I'm gonna haunt anywhere, it's gonna be London.
I'm gonna go to Scotland and blow up all the kilts and everything. That's what I'm gonna do.
I just met you, but I can see you doing that. You're gonna find a few traditional guys that aren't wearing anything underneath it and just
go,
show the world the goods.
Castle.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay.
I'm 12.
I think you and I are going to get along a lot.
We do have a question in the chat. Martha, can you communicate from a distance with spirits, or do you need to be there?
I've never tried. It's something, like I said, that's always kind of just freaked me out. That it's this thing that it's just, and it's very generational, almost like it takes one every generation and passes it down. And it's just like, I did not want to be the lucky one to inherit anything like that. I'm fine not. And I've actually had sessions, or I will have another session with someone coming up to kind of really shut it down and lock it back down. Because I'm not ready to handle it. If that, like, I'm that 12-year-old, right? Like, I still make fart jokes. Like, that's the stuff I think is funny and think is cool.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to see or face what might be on the other side. I do question it. And there is one person that I would give anything in the world to communicate with. But I'm too afraid to try, because I'm afraid I would fail, and I would afraid that I wouldn't get what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm always concerned is, are you sure you're dealing with what saying that's presented? You know what I mean? Like, they say, hey, I am blah blah blah, but they're not really that person.
I haven't had that yet.
Yeah. How do you know? I don't mean
Well,
to freak you
Dad,
out
come,
anymore.
Adrian.
Bad
No,
hook, bad. Yeah.
I would say that there's no actual communication, just like visual.
yeah, it's not that I assume they can hear me talking to them.
Yeah.
And Heather will completely agree with this. I assume they hear me talking to them. But I don't hear them. I don't see their lips moving. I have had in like full on instances, I can like see the person. I can see, you know, features. I can describe them. We even contacted the person that lived in our house or grew up in our house, owned it. And she brought over photos for me to compare against to try and figure out who this person is. Because it goes with a story where we found a revolver in our house.
Oh, dang. Oh, dang.
Buried under a floorboard when I was doing some remodeling. And so that's when a lot of this activity kind of picked up. We found that, and then a lot of this activity picked up, and that's when I started to see this person, and really realized that I had let some of my guard down in a lot of situations, and because I was focusing more on like work stress, personal life stress, and things that I was going through, not so much shutting down, blocking, and keeping that line of visual wall in place. So I was waking Heather up in the middle of the night saying that I'm like, I was like, did Gavin come by? Like, is our son here? Like, what the hell's going on?
Oh.
Yeah. I would be the type of person that if I had an ability, I would try to do my best to hone it. You know, I would, just because I'm weird that way, I think.
I want it and I can't get it.
But I'm as sensitive as a rock.
Well, at one point in time when I was a lot younger, I thought it would be cooler. And then, being that I lived across from the graveyard and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I'm okay with this. I let too many things come see where I could visually see them. And it was very overwhelming as a small child. So that line of imaginary friend or ghost was very blurred as a small child. So I was like, yep, I'm good. I'm good. And I just try to keep it now. Like Heather said, my sister-in-law, she's the opposite. She leans very much into it. And she will straight up call me like within 24 hours of something going wrong, she'll straight up pick up the phone and call me. So like she's very in tune with everything in that practice. And my brother leans into it as well. And so they're very in tune with it.
Nice.
So the answer is yes, you're woo-woo.
She said she was woo-woo a long time ago.
Yeah.
Hey, let's
more like woo, not woo woo.
Because she's not going towards the woo. She's going to the woo.
You just woo. Okay, I get that. Okay.
Woo.
Or maybe it's more like woo, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's more like an upchuck.
Slam. Woo, slam. Try to close that door. Heather, you sent a list of different things, and I was noticing on the list something about the walking house, the
walking horse.
I'm sorry, I wrote it wrong. Correct. Walking horse. I can't read. The right house, not horse, but house.
Yeah.
I had them backwards. And then you've been to Octagon Hall also.
Yes.
I know nothing about the first two. I have seen Octagon Hall. It was pouring down rain. It was closed. So I sat in the parking lot or in the grass, basically.
Yeah.
Did some stuff for about a half hour back in May. But what are these other three places?
So Octagon Hall, I definitely see. I recommend it. If you can get an overnight, I recommend it. It will not disappoint. I will put it that way. It will not disappoint.
Nope.
I've gotten little girls. Like I have one up here. I don't know if you'd be able to hear it, but I left my recorder in the back stairwell, and you can hear us talking off in the background, and then right there towards the end, you can hear her go, "Mama." So, and it's like this little girl's voice. And I have other ones. The kids thing kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Oh,
Because
God.
kids are just, the kids are creepy anyway. So then you bring in the ghost aspect, and you're just like, I don't want to listen to this.
Kids are creepy whether they're alive or not.
This is what I'm saying.
I feel really sad whenever I hear a little kid. I know sometimes a lot of people are like, well, what if it's a demon acting like a little kid? And well, you know what?
Right.
It may be a little kid, especially looking
when
for
you're
their
at like a
mom.
restaurant and you're trying to eat your meal, and then the kids are over there. It's like,
No, I had a friend that had interaction with a little kid looking for their mom, and oh my gosh, that just breaks my heart.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, so they have a summer kitchen and a winter kitchen, I think, as most of those old places do. And the winter kitchen in the basement of Octagon Hall had caught fire, and a kid did die. So I don't know if it was a girl or a boy. I don't remember. I guess
it was a little girl.
Yeah, I don't remember. But I definitely recommend going. If you can get it, do it.
It is.
I've been invited so many times to go to Octagon Hall. I've just never gone.
Heather and I went at different times. So I did not. It's actually a trip I got to do without Heather, with one of our other friends that was a member of Apex at one point. Free Heather. And it was kind of my first foray into it. But I had met Heather at the time. I just wasn't dating Heather at the time. And Heather is absolutely right. It does not disappoint. There is a servant's graveyard with unmarked names, unmarked graves. The barn has a lot of activity if you can stand the spiders.
No, see, I can deal with ghosts. I'll deal with all kinds of creepy stuff.
I'll go where the spiders are.
No spiders. No
Heather and I both came out of there each on our own separate instances with spider bites. So the spiders are definitely in full steam up there. But it is really, like Heather said, it is really a great place, but it's pretty. And the construction is unique, and there's so many little like nooks and crannies, and like they tell you stories. They'll tell you stories about where they would hide the Confederate soldiers or soldiers under the stairwell in the front stairwell under the front of Octagon Hall.
It was part of the Underground Railroad, and they would hide slaves as well up under the outside stairs. It's like concrete, and they would hide people up under there. And there are bullet holes still. It's definitely worth it. If anybody
in the chat, Patty said that Heather just validated my experience of a frantic mother screaming to get the children out due to a fire. So
so cool. I don't have any frantic EVPs, but I do have a few of a little girl. And I have one. You can hear all of us leave. We would go to dinner and just leave our recorders run while nobody was there.
Yeah, drop recorders.
Yeah, and so when we walked out, you can hear the door shut, and then you hear so loud, like it was right next to the recorder. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm sorry, so censored. Fucking bitch. And we're just
really?
Nice.
Yeah, so when we heard that back, I was like, that's gotta be somebody, because it was so loud and so audible in the recorder. But we had all left. You can hear us all walk out. You can hear us lock the door. I'm just like, that's just crazy to me. But yeah.
That's not is that period language? I mean, when did we start saying
I don't know. I mean, I guess with all the people coming through, they'll learn.
I think it's been around a long time. Yeah. Oh, come on, Pebbles.
But Yeah,
Wow.
it's a fun experience there. I'm with Heather. I would highly recommend that one.
Okay. What about the other two?
Walking Horse. Walking Horse is a place where one of our former members, Claire, had made a really great relationship with the owner. And so then she got us in there, and we would spend probably 2 weekends a month going in, because Joe would let us come. He would let us stay for really cheap, and we had the hotel run to our, like, we had a big enough group. It was all to ourselves. There's 3 floors, and there's a lounge in the back. So the story behind the hotel is Joe and his wife, his former dead wife, would drive by all the time, and she just loved this hotel. She just loved it, the architecture of it. And she always told Joe, I would love to see the inside of it. And she had gotten cancer, and she never made it to the inside of the hotel. So when it came up for sale, he bought it. And so in the back, it's called Chase Lounge, and it's like a little lounge, right? It's got a little piano and everything in it. And then he's got a great big picture of her in there. And so we were down one night doing just goofing off, right? Going down, we took our recorder, we're sitting there, and our friend, also a former Apexer, had asked, is there anything you want to tell Joe? Is there anything you want to say to Joe or whatever? And in the EVP, almost immediately, and I have that on here too, you can hear her say, tell him that I know. So we listened to it the next morning, and we immediately went to Joe, and we were like, does this mean anything to you? And he goes, well, first we asked him, before we let him listen to it, we asked him, was he down in the lounge? And he was like, yeah, I had gone down there. It was Chase's birthday. And I had gone down, and I sat for a little bit and just had a conversation. And I told her happy birthday, and I hope she knows how much I love her and all this other stuff. And so then we were like, okay. And we let him hear the recording, because at that point he had no idea what we had. And so you have the tell him that I know, after Eddie had said, is there anything you want Joe to know, or anything you want to say? It's an amazing EVP, and it's just one of those
extremely clear.
I love those.
Yeah. And it was just, it was a whisper, right? But it was just 3 of us down there.
Yeah.
So, and everybody else was on the second floor. On the Chase Lounge is like outside of the hotel, like a patio, like an enclosed thing.
Addition.
So yeah, that. And so we just love Walking Horse. We've always loved it. And now we don't go. It has sold, and we don't know the owners. And it was actually this is where our EVP got stolen. It was actually on, I think, the Travel Channel. There's a thing on the Travel Channel about the hotel, and he tells the story, but he credits Brandon for the EVP. Even though we signed that they could use it, but they had in the thing that I sent them, we were to get the credit for that. And they agreed to it, and everything was fine. And then in the show, he credits Brandon for it. And they, in the show, run the EVP and everything, and with Joe's story. And so that's why I'm like, no. And we were credited in the credits.
Yeah, but that's not the same.
But Brandon took the credit for the EVP, and he wasn't even in there.
Wow.
So
wow.
So now I'm really, really weird about it.
Karma.
Fully understandable.
Yeah.
So where is the Walking Horse? Where is it?
It's in Wartrace, Tennessee. So where we got married, Bell Buckle.
Yeah.
It's literally probably 15 minutes.
Yeah, you were very close to it.
That's the next community, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And doesn't it look like the same setup in the town?
A little bit in the square, yes.
Yeah.
So
you got the angle.
Yeah, over by the Walking Horse Hotel, there's the train track runs right by the hotel, but on the opposite side of the train track is the town, like the main strip of the town. And it has the toy train shop and a couple other things over there.
Okay.
In Wartrace, yeah.
I drove through there. Yeah. So
Yes.
and I'm like, this looks just like the other place. I don't know if it was before or after. I'm like, did I go in a circle? So,
Probably before. So
Yeah.
it is Wartrace and Bell Buckle where that's located is home of the Tennessee Walking Horses. That is where they are born, bred, and raised.
okay.
For the Tennessee Walking Horse Festival every year. Hence the name of the hotel was called the Walking Horse. It previously, I think, what had been Iron Horse.
Iron Horse, yeah.
And so when Joe bought it, he changed the name to Walking Horse to reflect the community.
Yeah.
Very cool. Gosh, I didn't know I was there. Cool.
You were.
So close.
I was actually there. Well, I drove by it. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So what about the other place was the Wright
The Wright house. So this house is a private house. What we had gone to Walking Horse for the weekend, and Joe had an event that he double booked. And so we had to find something to do, and he knew George Wright. So he was like, let me see if you can, you know, the house is empty. Let me see if he'll let you go over there. I am telling you, this is the house that scary movies are made of. Like it is, this is where I got the disembodied voice. I was pushed, and there's an EVP from that. Where right before, you know, you can hear me and Buffy kind of laughing about what had just happened in the room prior to. And you can hear push her now. And then you can hear Buffy go, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. I felt like something just pushed me, but I didn't feel anything. Ooh. So then we're trying to be like, well, did you trip on something? I'm like, there's nothing to trip on. Like you were pushed, but there was no like feeling of it, just like a just like a fall over kind of a thing. But so much in that one, it's scary.
Is that where Eddie heard the chickens, the disembodied chickens?
Yes, chickens. So they used to have
say disembodied chickens.
I did say disembodied chickens.
I did. I don't know why.
So okay,
I don't know why.
Okay. So now I'm seeing
that's new ground. New ground.
It is. I was going to say, usually you see the chickens with no heads. This is just the heads and no chickens.
Yep.
Disembodied chicken.
I did say it. I don't know why I said it. But yeah, there's an EVP.
So now we know where the heads go.
Yeah. The Wright house. So we went into the master bedroom, and you hear Claire ask something, and then you hear like a cage shut. You hear the chickens, the sound of a bunch of chickens, and then you hear the EVP or the voice that follows. It says, "Don't let my chickens out." Wow. All of that, and there are no chickens around there. This is on like 30 acres.
Awesome, but disembodied chicken just sounds like
sounds scary. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh!
It's the only semi-cute story that comes out of that. That
it really
house.
Is. It really is.
I have not been to the Wright house. Heather did that pre-me. And the stories that she tells me of coming out of that, the chickens obviously is my favorite. But I would not have wanted to be locked in that house. Like,
no, it was terrifying. You can hear growling. I have like 4 or 5 EVPs where you can just hear it. And then me and Buffy were walking through the upstairs hallway, arm in arm, linked, right? Because we don't separate the two of us. We stick together. Where she is, I am. If she runs, I run. So it's So
chain gang.
Yeah, exactly. So me and Buffy are walking arm in arm across from one bedroom to the master bedroom, and we heard the growl between us. Like nobody was behind us, and you hear this growl, guttural, scary, demonic, whatever you want to call it. And you can hear me and Buffy say, "What the F was that?" And then and I just look at him like, it's time to go. And then someone says something, and then you hear Buffy say, "No, it's time to go." So, I mean, I have 4 or 5 of those where it's just this guttural, it's just scary. It's just scary. But it is a ghost hunter's, Mecca. It pretty much for us, we were completely obsessed with that house. We wanted to go whenever we could, and we got to do it like 3 times before it sold. And now it's on Zillow as a listing that I watch, because if that house ever comes back up for sale, I am buying it. So,
Awesome.
We're not living there. We are not living there.
no. Hell no. No.
No, you could do like they do with the Hinsdale house and stuff. Just have
and
people come out.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and breakfast. That's what me and Jim were
No,
talking
I'm not letting anybody stay there.
about. Well, just like, but for ghost hunters, like it's
The liability. Come on
no,
now.
it is not. Well, I don't know. It might be.
If the ghost has
Maybe.
pushed you, then there is liability. I ain't gonna pay
know,
for
why
somebody falling
me?
down.
You can
Yeah.
always have them sign an agreement.
sign a
They go at their
paper,
own
yeah.
risk.
Exactly.
Right? You
Yeah.
cannot sue me if a ghost touches you and pushes you down the stairs.
Yeah.
Right.
Your family cannot sue.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But-
you are not allowed to die in the house and become another ghost.
Oh, please
Right?
don't. Yeah, please don't. But yeah,
No.
it's definitely one of those houses where you just, at the time when we got to do it, you were like eating it, breathing it, sleeping it, like you thought about that house all the time. It was like up under your skin, like the
I'm
house.
still obsessed with it.
I am. It's one of the best places we have ever been, and probably the best place we'll ever go.
Wow.
Y'all should go to
It's
the Hinsdale
amazing.
house,
Where is
Right.
that?
New York.
Oh,
Talk about amazing. Oh my gosh.
yeah. So it's
But we're
worth
not
going.
talking about New York. We're talking about Missouri.
Oh no, we're
Well, none
talking
of
about
these
all-
are in Missouri. These are in Tennessee.
Well, those are in Tennessee.
Oh no.
You know, you
Oh,
got
no.
the southerner here, so we had to bring in
Only-
some flavor.
I want to
There
go
you
to
go.
Sloss Furnace if we want to go southern. So
Oh,
That,
I
that's a
have
cool,
been
that's
to
a cool
Sloss
place.
Furnace.
I'd like to do that, even
I've
though
been
it's in
there.
a foreign country.
Hey.
I went to Sloss Furnace on Halloween night. Dumbest mistake. My girlfriend at the time wanted to go. It was not Heather.
well, they do a haunted house, don't they?
They
Mm,
do put on a haunted house.
Well, it's a
And-
haunted place. Yeah.
It's a haunted place, but they
It's
actually do
huge.
put on a haunted house. So, and Shaw can correct me with the history of Sloss Furnace. There are actual reports of foremen and people who worked there that actually fell into the furnace itself, the smelting
Yes.
furnace. It's an old
Yes.
ironworks,
that is the story.
Yes.
and died.
Mhm.
But
Some.
I am a jumpy person. Heather will tell you I am a jumpy. She uses a couple of choice words, but I am extremely jumpy. I am the person sitting in the movie, watching a scary movie, and the door creaks and I jump. And Heather laughs at me.
Ew.
So you
But
don't
in
hold the popcorn.
Sloss, no, not at all.
Okay.
But in Sloss Furnace, we were in there on Halloween night. My back was against a solid iron girder.
Okay.
And nothing around me because the iron girder was against a solid brick wall. And I'm standing there with my back against it because I'm terrified. My girlfriend at the time was maybe 10 feet away from me talking to her friends. And a hand comes out of the wall and
Ooh.
grabs my shoulder.
Oh man, perfect time for a film. Like,
And I
Right?
flip
Yes.
out because you can see my jacket start to curl. And I'm like, nope. And I go to the car and I stay there.
Mm.
Like I was
Wow.
not, that was not one I was having. Not on
No.
Halloween. Wasn't
Wow.
doing it.
See,
That
I was
Yeah.
stupid enough
that was
to
a-
invite a ghost to do a scratch on my neck just so we could record it. Because I had gotten one a little behind. I was like, I don't even know where that came from. So I was like, okay, I give you permission, but don't bleed me. Just
Yeah.
give me a scratch. And sure enough, you could see red forming on my neck. I got to find that video. Dadgummit. Every time I talk about it, I'm like, I got to find that video. But it was neat.
I think there was also a couple of drownings in that chute that went down to that under I'll call it the underground river.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
That little bridge on that. I was hearing all sorts of crazy things, and voices were just chattering while I was down there.
Yeah.
I was the only one down there because everybody else decided to go someplace else. I'm like, I'm going down the steps. So I stood there on the bridge, and that was really creepy. But I think I know which one you're talking about. It's the big building, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you kind of go in the door, then there's a couple of big pieces of machinery, a big hole in the floor.
You're just naming everything about Sloss Furnace there, Ken.
I know. I know. I've been there. That's about 5-6 years ago.
It was crazy.
Amazing. It was a cool place.
I want to go.
But I was sitting back in the corner, and spirit box. I'm like, okay, this is boring, guys. Is there anybody here that wants to talk? And all of a sudden, through the spirit box, a voice goes, "Sure." And I'm like, okay, well, where are you? Right behind you.
Nope.
Just like you. I was sitting in a chair. I was sitting in a chair, basically almost up against the wall, as far back as you can go in that place. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool.
I would go back to Sloss. That's kind of similar to one of the experiences the very last time we were at Walking Horse with Jim. We had a spirit box going upstairs.
The first time we ever as Apex used one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Spirit box. Okay.
We were upstairs on the 3rd floor, which was still under renovation. They hadn't really done much to it. So it was still under construction. So we were up there on the 3rd floor. We had set up the spirit box, and we're all standing around
with a sound bar.
With the sound bar. So
loud.
it was real loud, real time. And so we had all just been sitting around a minute, and then somebody asked the question, do you know who we are?
No, the first question was, do you know anybody here? And it said yes. Well, who do you know? And it said Jim and Heather.
Yep.
Pretty spot on, right?
Nice.
And then it said, and then they said, well, do you know who they are?
Yeah.
And that's when it came back with
said Apex. And then
really,
that's cool.
Oh, it got better. We asked somebody. We went on this theory of trying to determine if it was intelligent or not. So we said, how many people are here? And it started counting up and stopped at the number of people in the room. So then we sent some people out into the hallway, into the stairwell, and asked it again, and it started counting up again and stopped at the number of people that were in the room. Because of the people that were in the, it was trippy. We're like,
wow.
So I'm done with the spirit box. I don't use it anymore. So when you pull yours out, Ken, I'm like, oh.
Oh, so I'm freaking you out.
We just had that happen Saturday. It was lovely.
Yeah, go ahead, Shauna.
Awesome.
You want?
No, you can.
It was amazing. We were. Shaw was trying to get the spirits to tell us a name of the person who sent us down there, a psychic, Scotty, and we never heard it. Okay, we never heard that name being said. Pretty insistent about it. And
I was, tell me the name.
Oh, exactly. And not just once, not just 6 times, but anyway.
I was adamant.
I went into the the old routine, shaving, a haircut, the knocking. I said, can you answer that? Nothing. So I said it. I said, shave and a haircut, hoping to hear something, anything, nothing. So I noticed I think Pam, I think you said that, oh, there's some money or something over here.
Yeah, they're giving offerings.
Yeah, I was like, are people leaving offerings?
Yeah, so I reached in my pocket, found a quarter, and tossed it on the table. I didn't even think about it. I just threw 2 bits on the table, and as soon as it hit the table and bounced into the pile, over the spirit box's voice goes, "Wow!" Really sarcastic, and it's like, oh my God, of course, we were all laughing. It was pretty hysterical.
Well, Ken also said, do you need more? Is that a lot? That's not a lot. And it said it was, like, back in the day.
Yeah.
And,
2 bits. Yeah.
Before that, Ken, we had heard where it said quarter.
Yeah, when you said, could you finish shaving a haircut? And it said quarter.
Oh, see, I didn't hear that one. Okay.
Yeah, it's on the recording. It says
got
quarter.
it all around this handy
Awesome.
phone.
Well, I listened to the last 10 minutes of our time down there, because this was like 2 minutes before we left, And on the way home, this was at the Bell Mansion up in Fort Wayne, and I called you guys while you guys were driving. I said, "You're not going to believe this," but they did say Scott. Someone
Yes.
Yeah, we
said
heard
Scott,
'em.
and also after the wow, and we started laughing, somebody actually did say thank you.
I
Oh,
didn't
So-
hear that. I might have to go
I
back.
didn't either.
So it
I got it
was
all wrote down.
it was an
I still need to
interesting.
listen to mine. I haven't had a chance to yet.
Yeah, I gotta
But
listen
I
to the
was a little
recorder
ways away from y'all, so
because I got the
So-
phone, but also had the recorder going too.
yes.
So
Yeah,
what
you
I'm
have-
hearing
Yeah.
is that you guys do not use Spirit Box anymore.
I've never used a
she-
spirit box.
She doesn't. I am more intrigued by the technology aspect, so I'll use the Ovulus. As you
Okay.
know, Ken, you've seen me use the Ovulus
Mhm.
when we're together. You don't necessarily trust it because it is, it's a cell phone. It's on a cell phone. It's
Oh, winky dink.
easily
It just has
Yeah,
a database of like so many words, and how is the ghost going to know what word to pick?
And how do
Yeah.
you associate an energy frequency to a word bank? And I know there's a complicated algorithm, and at some point I will dive into it and understand it because that's how my brain works. But I don't necessarily trust it. The white noise box that you use, the spirit box, the white noise box, is good. The one we were using that we probably will never use again was the one that we used in APEC when we were at Walking Horse. Forget the name of the program. You can still get it. You can still download it. But it is black. It's a black background with orange knobs and dials and colors on it. It has multiple frequencies. It's a ridiculously good app. And it's what we use down there. And
The
if-
Necrobox,
nah, I don't think that was
Echobox,
Echo Box.
That's it.
Echobox. Yeah, I've got that. There we go.
that thing. Never again. That's the one that freaked us all out.
That's a crazy one. I don't really like the Necrobox too much, but the Echobox is good. So
Yeah, that one was a little bit wicked.
Are you talking about the necrophonic or? Because I got the necrophonic.
No, that's not. We haven't used that one. We used Echo Box.
That one and the box is the only one that I can use in airplane mode. The rest of them, I don't even.
is that the
Yep.
Ghost Tube box?
The box, the one you have, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
I
because
have
I've got an
Ghost Tube
Android.
box.
You have a
I have an Android.
oh, okay.
Yes, this
Y'all are
is,
nuts.
I'm
this
sorry.
is beautiful.
A lot of my
This is
friends have
beautiful.
iPhones. I'm like,
No.
they're different. Okay.
No.
Go,
You know what? We are built different because
Yes.
I'm lazy and I don't want to have to fix my phone because I accidentally screwed up my configurations too many times. I do that for a living. I don't want to do it personally.
gotcha.
I use
I'm-
dowsing rods.
What was
Dowsing
that?
rods.
I do
I like
too.
the
Use dowsing rods.
Yeah.
Dowsing rods are interesting, especially when you're asking the questions and it just seems to go crazy on you, and you're like, "Wait
Yeah.
a minute."
Mhm.
My first experience with those was at BCT in New York,
Mm.
Buffalo Central Terminal.
Oh,
Apex-
geez.
yeah, Apex hosted an event with some other people, and I was sitting. It was the first time we were ever there, and I was sitting in a room, and somebody was like, "Here, you want to play with these?" And I was like, "Sure." I don't know what they are, and I had my mittens on because it was cold. It was like October. In this like marble building. So I have my gloves on and they just start, I would ask a question and, all of this stuff happened. And I was like, okay, these are kind of fun. So it ended up, I was sitting in just a room and I was talking to this female and with the rods and everything, and people would kept coming in. And every time someone new came in, they would swing to the door.
Oh.
So then I was like, okay, well, what if we introduce ourselves? Like, as people were coming in, I'm like, do you want to say hi and introduce yourself? And then once they did, they crossed.
Ooh.
And that was, so I'm assuming like a thank you
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But then my friend came in because she had gone with us And she's like, have you gotten a name yet? And I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to get a name with dowsing rods?
Right.
Like, am I going to go through the alphabet? And
yes, you do.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. That's Ouija board.
But yeah, you do. You do. You use it and you deductive reasoning.
Well, she's got another method, Ken. She ain't done.
But go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
so she came in and they swung. And I was like, you got to introduce yourself. And she did and everything. She goes, and I have the EVP on this too. And it was the first time it validated this friend. It was like validation for her, for everyone, but kind of believing her. Because you kind of look at her like, you are crazy. So she goes, she comes in, she says, did you get a name yet? And I'm like, no. And I go, why? Do you? Kind of being a smart aleck about it. And she goes, Rose. But in the EVP, you hear me say, why? Do you? And then you hear Rose, and then Shannon say Rose.
Oh.
So she said it twice before Shannon said it once. So I'm like, okay, validated. I will no longer call you crazy, but now you opened up a can of worms. So, but that was our first experience as a group, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, so I really like the dowsing rods. So Jim bought me some, and Shannon, I don't want to say blessed them because I don't like that word, but she cleaned the energy off of them or whatever, and I'm the only one who has touched them since. And she always tells me, do not let anyone touch your dowsing rods. And I'm like, okay. So when people are like, oh, can I see those? I'm like, I can't, sorry. I don't know.
Ken, you just let everybody touch your rods.
Yes,
that just took a big left turn down pervy lane.
Tina had a lot of fun with them.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh
and I won't use other people's. Like when we were at McPike Mansion, they handed out dowsing rods for people to play with in the cellar. And they offered me some, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I can't do that. Shannon has told me you can't do it. I'm like, okay, I won't touch any other ones. Won't let anyone touch mine.
Well, Tina wants to pair now because she played with Ken.
Yeah. When I have to share my rods.
I'll have to let Tina know she touched Ken's rod.
Oh my gosh. And she was smiling the whole time, guys. It's okay.
Forcibly smiling, Ken?
No, she was
smiling.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm glad I can help make this a joyous occasion.
Always. I'm sorry, Ken. We do pick on you a lot. I'm sorry. You're so lovable, though.
I feel like a teddy bear. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Well, it is 15 after, and I would love to continue this on. We might have to get them back on again because it was a fun conversation.
Yes, it was.
Well, Jim has requested that we do it again. And I said probably since we only have, 2 more episodes each, I think this year, we'll probably get everybody back on next year sometime. Next year.
It'd be great.
Yep, that'd be awesome.
How can people get a hold of you, or do you want them to?
Yeah, do you want them to?
No,
I mean,
hold on. Are we talking living or dead people?
Well, living. Mainly living.
I don't want the dead calling.
We have a Facebook page that we haven't really done because we haven't done anything. So we haven't really done anything with it, but we do have a Facebook page, just Apex Paranormal. So.
All right. Well, y'all heard it. Apex Paranormal.
Are you planning on doing anything, except for your Halloween party? Any type of group things or doing any investigations in the future?
We have one we're looking at.
My friend, and I accidentally said her name.
Nobody knows her last name.
No, they don't. But she wants to really do Waverly Hills, and Waverly Hills has been on our list from the start.
Yes.
And so But if we do that, it has to be a non-Apex event if she goes, because she doesn't want to be a part of it. But then Jim also wants to go as well. So I will go twice.
I want to go to Waverly Hills. I haven't been there yet.
Had no experience there.
Yeah, because you were with a big, huge group that you didn't know.
Not a single one.
You got to go with people you know that's serious about investigating, because you go with big groups, you don't know who's serious and who's not serious and who's just there to. I can't stand that.
I'm not a serious person.
She's very different. I'm the more serious one when we're doing
Jim
it.
Is the well.
So when I say serious, I mean those that actually want to investigate. You don't have to be serious.
Okay.
Because Heather gets more EVPs by just goofing off with Buffy. Than she does like hard aggressive questioning.
Because they want to be treated like people. They don't want to be treated like some thing on the other side.
Oh,
yes.
I don't interrogate. No. I definitely.
Yeah, but some people, that's their approach. We go in, octagon.
I'm always me.
We go in, we sit at the dining room table, and we just start having a fun conversation and talking about, like, when you get together with your friends, you talk about anything and everything. And we're always like, you are more than welcome to come join the conversation. There's plenty of room in here if you want to. And I feel like we just catch more like that. Because
we got EVP talking about food. What are we going to eat?
Yeah.
I mean, like you just catch more that way.
I was in the service.
My team is very food motivated. So yeah.
I was in the service in this one business that we went to. Guy was doing the alphabet, the military alphabet. And I was like, oh my gosh, so cool. Because the one that we think it was, he was ex-military. So I found that kind of cool. And whenever we go to Pythian Castle, it's going to be the 10th and then the 11th. So it's going to be on Veterans Day. So I'm hoping to get down to the basement so I can try to get some stuff stirring. I'm excited. I'm
excellent.
Excited. No, it's going to be great.
Yeah, we've been having some good fun. So, and these guys are great. So yeah, today I posted something out there called the Paranormal 4F Club: Friends, Food, Fun, and Phantoms.
Yeah,
spelled with an F. So
usually, if friends and food are involved, I'm typically willing to leave the house.
Especially good food.
If you're not going to feed me, I'm typically not going to leave the house. It's just not how it goes.
Food motivated, right on.
The one time Ken got me to leave the house willingly, it was to go to the Mexican restaurant to have dinner with him. Like, how can I say no? It's Mexican, right?
And it's food. So
awesome. Oh my god!
And it was fun. So there was no phantoms that we know.
It was fun. Well, not that we were paying attention to anyway, so we don't know.
Right.
All right,
if that Mexican place is haunted, then we're screwed.
Oh, there's a lot of Mexican places that are haunted.
Well, ladies, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, so we will definitely have you guys back on. Give us just a minute. Let us close out. All right.
And Shauna, what do you got for next week?
It's not me for next week. It's Pam.
Is it?
No, it's not me.
Yeah. Oh, it is me.
Oklahoma.
I have nothing. We're just going to talk about
AMOK.
We're just going to talk about the Bell's Mansion and Ray County Museum, because we never discussed those.
That's perfect.
That's true.
So I did.
We can talk about the Ray County Bell.
So there's the plan. We're going to talk about Ray County Museum. We're going to talk about Bell's Mansion and our experience. Yep.
Right.
That will
and then
work.
It's Pam. Sorry, Pam.
No, it's okay.
I thought you were going to take mine because of me taking yours when we weren't doing anything that week. When I was in
everyone.
We're not done yet. Pam's got to say what she's doing.
Well.
She doesn't know. Okay, then what?
Is this the one that we switched around, Ken?
Yeah, I think isn't Margie?
Then Margie K.
Margie K. All right.
Yeah, Margie K will be on.
All right. And then I will be going to Silicon in Illinois. So those that are going the 15th and 16th, or the 16th and 17th. And so will Ken. Ken will be going too. And we're going to go to represent AMOK. And my podcast, Exploring the Paranormal Perspective. And yeah,
Monster Paranormal.
Y'all go.
And Bordertown Paracon's coming up September 30th.
Yep.
Caney.
And we're all going to be there.
We're all going to be there.
So,
And
yay.
DeSoto,
Yay.
Missouri, September 23rd, their fall festival. I'll be there.
Sweet.
All right. So until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.